Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over that little drop on the chart as well as altcoins just kind of tanking here. Guys, this kind of a drop should be expected. We do see technology slipping a little bit in the stock market, but overall, it's not too bad of a day. So I don't think anything traumatic particularly is happening. Just a little bit of a pullback on the Bitcoin chart, which we can see that we're already recovering in part. However, that could be just just kind of a fake out before a second wave down. We can explore that in a bit. But guys, last week we did have a goal to close the week above 28,000 and I believe it was $55. We did not close above $28,055 at the close last night. We closed just under that, just by a hair, a fraction underneath what we needed to close by. And so, sure enough, we came back underneath the alpha momentum pool because we weren't able to sit on top of it. And this is the new pool for the new week. So, we are just starting out just swimming in it. Guys, these alpha momentum pools and these threshold lines that I give you are incredibly important. They do give you an advantage in the market. Had we closed last week above the line that I had set for the previous week, then of course we would have the chance to pump. Having closed underneath it, of course, it's more likely that we're just going to go back for a swim in the pool. And swimming in this pool is no water off our back or anything like that. It just means that we're just still consolidating a bit, right? And as you can see on the weekly, we did just tag the 4 EMA, which is incredibly bullish, guys. We could come all the way down here to 25,000 and still hold on to the 200 EMA. And again, it's just like water off a duck's back, right? It just wouldn't really bother us at all. It would help to reclaim this candle. It'd be a great buying opportunity, and then we could go. But guys, you can see this push that we're getting. So this chart is incredibly bullish. It has recovered the volatility pivot on the weekly, which we did just briefly slip under, but it doesn't matter. We have six, and a half days to go before the next week closes, and our goal for next week is to close above $27,060, just to maintain that likely, continuation to the upside. And then if we really want that chance to pump, we will want to be above 28,000. Okay, so almost 28,000 flat this week. That's your key level to watch there. And guys, of course, we do lose significant momentum underneath that $24,000 area where we could get into possible squeezes to the downside, as far as a 22,000 where we might start breaking structure, which we don't really want to do. We don't want to come back to this $18,000 area. Take a lot of work to get back up. But if that's what the chart wants, that's what the chart wants. However, currently I am still biased towards the upside. If we do put on some advanced EMAs, we can see that we are getting a reverse alpha 9 knockout here with the 4 EMA and the 4 SMA. And so sometimes we could get a little bit of a pushback, which then comes back down. So don't be surprised if we get a little bit of a bounce and then we end up having a second drive down. That would be perfectly normal. You can kind of see it over here where we got to push down, bounce up to this wick over here, and then we got another push down before the thing turned around, right? Same thing here, push down, bounce back up, another push down, and then it even did it again before it got another launch. So this kind of price action is perfectly normal. It's perfectly bullish. It's perfectly healthy. We don't start turning anything sour until we're underneath that 20, I would even say $24,500 level, losing that 50 EMA, and we really just don't want to get into a squeeze to the downside. But so far, not too bad. Of course, alts are bleeding. They're just terrified, right? Anytime Bitcoin takes a dip, it is Bitcoin season, so that means alts are going to dip a little bit harder. And of course, that just puts a little bit of fear of God in people. We can check out the daily, because the daily is going to have some interesting levels for us to be watching. Should we want to have some bullishness on the day, and let's just zoom out here, we can see that, oops, the momentum pool got shifted there. we can see that our daily volatility pivot is all the way up at 28,300. Well, that's pretty far away, and it's going to be very difficult to capture. So again, like I was suggesting, we are starting this squeeze underneath the 9 EMA on the daily, and should we have, a little bit of bounciness off of this little support line here, you can see I have this line right here at 26,520. We literally tagged it to the dollar, okay, that support line. It's this little wick over here, probably something else further back as well. But anyway, we got a little bit of a bounce off of this one, and that's probably not going to be the strongest support. It might be, but it's probably not going to be, which would suggest that we would have a chance to just bounce a little bit further down once that weekly squeeze, that weekly alpha 9 knockout on the 4 EMAs is over. That could take a couple days. We could end up coming back up here, trying to get back into the momentum pool, even getting all the way up to the volatility pivot, and then rejecting, and then coming back down, maybe tagging the 21, and then making another go for it, right? So this thing could still end up being in kind of an accumulation pattern and eventually squeeze up to 30,000, 33,000, whatnot, even if we do have a little bit of some pullbacks. But guys, nothing really concrete here. Of course, if we do close the day underneath 27,600, then bulls will have officially lost control on the daily. Okay, that'll be the first time that they lost control in a while. And so we do want to recover 27,600 if we are going to continue to be bullish on the daily. Otherwise, we're just talking about being kind of normal, right? Just kind of normalizing for a while. And bears don't gain control until 21,950. So again, this type of a pullback is just water off a duck's back. It shouldn't really bother you, right? And after these massive pumps, this is to be expected that we should take some time to consolidate. Let's see if we can go to our volatility and just see what's going on here. Yeah, so if we take a look at the daily volatility, you can see that we came all the way up from basically in January. We had extremely low volatility. Our price started pushing up. Yeah, this is a very meandering path, but our price started pushing up with our volatility. That volatility was just pushing us up and up and up. And now what are we getting? Well, the chickens have come home to roost, basically, right? And so now it's time to cool down. And so we don't know how long this cooling down process could be, or even if the next spike up could be part of the cooling down process before, a tumultuous drop. But of course, it just does suggest that volatility needs time to cool down, at least, some type of partial, some type of a partial movement there in order to cool down before the next pump, and then maybe cooling down again later on, right? So that would, if we have some type of formation like this until we get back to being reset on the volatility on the daily, this would suggest to me that, we dip down for a couple days, we have our last pump to whatever, like a 33 or whatever, and then we have a bigger cooling down period. Of course, we could do two humps also and maybe push up again. It's just obviously this is going to be part of a consolidating kind of cooling off process, basically. And then once we're reloaded here, we could potentially see a big move either up or down. Volatility is direction neutral. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the weekly to see if the weekly has any similar type of look to it. And yeah, it does. So this is a much smaller formation, but it is the weekly. But you can see that the weekly is also starting to cool off. It's been cooling off since the end of basically February. And so all of this has just been just kind of a cooling off period. And you can see we had a little bit of a spike, when we had that interesting push, but still trying to cool down. That could suggest that, we have just a kind of a meandering way up for the rest of this push, should we continue to the upside, or it could mean that we just have a deeper cooling period. So I can't really I can't really make a call off of this weekly one, but we can take a look at the 2-day. Okay, the 2-day is coming to a close here, which does suggest that it's going to want to it's going to want to turn around at some point. Also, let's see, where did the 2-day actually get this little pinch here on the pinch up, on the push up? Yeah, so it's interesting that it's ending like this, though. That could have a volatility flip. Yeah, so I'm not getting a really clear answer from the 2-day or the weekly, and the 3-day looks like it's just not done pushing up. So maybe there is more to squeeze out here. Let's look at the 5-day. Ugh, 5 days is also confusing. Yeah, but the 3-day is suggesting we could have potentially more upside. So you can see all the way from here, March 2nd, we started to push up, and the 3-day volatility really hasn't pinched off yet. It's just saying, oh, still want to go up. It is rounding, so if this thing does come to a close, then maybe that's going to be our more serious pullback. But 3-day is giving us a subtle hint that, on these 3-day timelines, that maybe there's another push in store. And so we do want to keep our eye on that. Let's take a look at what it looked like over here around January 25th, let's say, January 22nd, 25th. And yeah, so around January 25th-ish, you can see we had one more push to the upside, right, before this thing really started to dip down. And even then, it dipped down, and then it had another greater push. So again, like the 3-day is just giving us a subtle hint that maybe it's not over yet, even if some of these other time frames are a bit exhausted and wanting a little bit of a break. So guys, we'll keep our eyes open for that. In the meantime, holding on to this 9 EMA would be just incredibly bullish. Are dips meant for buying, right, on this Bitcoin chart? Maybe, right? Maybe that was the chance that you had right at that wick right here, that support level, in order to buy and get, into some positions. But at the same time, this chart does look like it's not done consolidating yet. So, we could get a couple more candles and then maybe a turnaround if that 3-day is a proper indication. Guys, I think I'm going to end it here. A lot of speculation. We're just not confirmed. It's very early in the day. It's very early in the week. We just started a new week, and we haven't really captured any significant level. So again, like if we just close here, yes, we'll have captured the EMA, but we're going to have lost the bullish control zone. We're going to have lost most of our momentum. We're going to be underneath the daily volatility pivot. So all of this stuff is still going to suggest sideways or down, unless we get above that bullish control zone, unless we get above that daily volatility pivot. So again, 27,600, 28,300. Those are our stretch goals for the upside on the daily. And then again, for the weekend, for next weekend, the price that we want to be above is going to be, we're going to want to hold 27,085 essentially, and preferably above 28,000. Okay, guys, that was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.